Nothing like a late night transfer stream for you guys. The transfer window's not even open yet, and we're getting bombers left, right, and centre. We've got 2 here we goes already. So how you feeling, Zim?
The transfer season never rests. That's where we're at, and it doesn't matter what time of night it is, doesn't matter what day it is, doesn't mean the window's open or not. We're going to get stories, and here's some really interesting ones. I'm really keen to get into them.
Yeah. All right. So let's start off talking about. Well, first and foremost, actually, before we start talking about that, Paul O'Keefe has said that Spurs are trying to get some right winger targets in. And SZY has said that Spurs are looking for a big midfielder to come in this summer transfer window. So, and that's already off 2 defenders that we've potentially brought in, and all this other news that we're going to get into now. So things seem to be happening. Let's just put it that way. I hope so. Anyway.
Well, us wanting something and us getting something are 2 very different things. I think we should know that by now.
Very true, but it's not going to stop us getting excited, Tim.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Let's start off about the news about Ben Davies, because this was an interesting one. Paul O'Keefe says that Ben Davies will sign a contract extension with Tottenham. SZY says Ben Davies is staying the year and will likely get a role within the club afterwards. There were talks in January regarding a potential sporting role. He expressed deep interest to be around and is highly respected by those around the club. So, remember I told you this a few months ago, that Ben Davies, or quite a few months ago, that Ben Davies was going to be signing a new contract. And here we go. It looks like Ben Davies for another year. I mean, as much as we all said, like, yeah, Ben Davies is time to move on, is it really that much of a deal? Like, people are making out like it's the end of the world. I mean, the reality is he's going to be our 3rd choice left back and our 3rd choice left centre back.
Look, yeah, but he takes up a squad space, doesn't he? I agree.
Really.
He's probably not going to see much game time. Huh?
Not really, because we're not in Europe.
Well, he takes a squad space not in Europe. But anyway, so he's not so much for him, Robertson being the Davies replacement. Not quite, it seems. But for me, I just don't understand why it was similar to what I said last season, although last season he didn't end up playing a lot. He had a lot of injuries. He played, 1 game against Sunderland, I think, and then a couple others, and then got injured. I guess he's nice having around the squad. He's been a long time player, a loyal servant to Tottenham, so he knows what it means to be a Tottenham player. And I think those kind of characters are important to have around the team. You know, players who've just like been at the club for a long time and just know what's what. So I can understand that. I mean, I don't see him playing too much. I don't have too much issue with it. It's just like, he's Ben Davies. He survives another summer. Like,
he's never going to leave him. He's never leaving. He's going to go upstairs afterwards.
The perfect example is Robertson from Liverpool. He's getting on a bit. You know, he's probably younger than Davies. He's probably got more legs than Davies. And yet they're letting him go because they see him as, surplus requirements, and we're just keeping Davies around. So I think that probably tells you all you need to know. But I don't think it's going to be the be-all and end-all whether we sign Davies or not. I just don't think it signals a new Tottenham, put it that way.
That's true. I think he does have his values, Ben Davies. It's not like I'm saying, we have to keep him around or anything. I'm happy for him to move on this summer, because I think he can still play first-team football somewhere, even still in the Premier League, maybe a bit lower down. Well, I say lower down, we finished 17th, but but you know what I'm trying to say, maybe even Championship or something like that. I do think he can have a role somewhere, but he wants to stick around at Tottenham. He wants to be a part of it, and I think he's a big voice in the dressing room, and I think he brings some sort of leadership, and he represents someone that's been there a long time and that proper knows the club as well. So I think he holds his value in that way.
I mean, he's been here for the last 2 years.
He's the only player that's ever played at White Hart Lane. I
get that. I'm just saying, in terms of leadership, he's never really been in the leadership group. I think he was last season, but before then he wasn't. He's been part of the last season's leaders, where if he's sticking around because of leadership, I mean, we've lacked leadership, so I don't understand what he brings, but whatever. keep him around. Why not? I just hope he doesn't play much.
I doubt he will, unless there's a big injury crisis. He's not going to play. That's
So
the
he'll end up
reality.
playing like he does every year.
Probably, yeah. He didn't play too much this year, to be fair.
No, because he was part of the injury crisis this year, to be fair.
Yeah, true. All right, next up, we're going to talk about Pedro Porro, because a bit of worrying news coming out about him. Fabrizio Romano is saying that Real Madrid plan to sign a right-back this summer. Denzel Dumfries, Pedro Porro amongst the options being considered. Ivan Frasenda has also been scouted recently. So this is following on a report. I can't remember who the report was from last week, but it's saying that Man City are tracking Pedro Porro. So now we've got bloody Real Madrid and Man City hot on our heels for Pedro Porro. That is not a position that we want to be in right now.
No, not at all. And it just goes to show you what, everyone who says, oh, he's average, he's not a good right back, this and that, well, why are Madrid and Man City in for him? I think that tells you all you need to know about what they think of Pedro Porro. And I think we've always said, look, this is a guy who starts every game for Spain. He's got unbelievable quality on in his right foot. He's got amazing passing ability. We've seen that. He's got a good crossing ability. Yes, he's got his deficiencies when it comes to his defending. He's not the perfect defender, although I do think he's improved over the last few years. But this is it's a top quality right back that we've got. And it's no surprise to me that these are the caliber of clubs that are looking at him, because I think he would absolutely thrive. I mean, it's very telling, by the way, if Madrid are looking at him, because they have Trent, and yeah, they want Porro. I think that tells you all you need to know about what they think of Porro. So I hope we can hang on to him.
What deal?
I mean, I can think of worse things. That's for sure. I think De Zerbi would probably take it. Yes, it's not all right with Trent and Madrid at the moment. It seems as though they're not fancying him. I mean, they got a new manager coming in. I don't think Mourinho's going to like him, to be honest. I don't think Mourinho's going to like Trent. So I think maybe he goes back to Liverpool, to be honest. But yeah, Porro, obviously, and we're going to slap a big price tag on him. Let's just hope we can ward off the interest. But if you're Porro, you've been at Tottenham, you've played every game, run into the ground. There's been maybe from the fans, I mean, they appreciate you, but there's kind of like a lot of fans disrespect him a lot of the time. He's had a few arguments with fans and stuff like that. You've got the biggest clubs in Europe coming calling. I think he likes Tottenham, but when he's 26. I mean, he's getting to the age. Well, I'm not saying he's getting on or anything. Obviously, 26 is peak age, but I'm just saying. Yeah, he's in his prime. So he's thinking, where do I want to spend my prime years? Do I want to commit to Spurs, or do I want to, move on to one of the big guns? And when these guys come calling, you're not guaranteed that they come calling again.
Yeah, I mean, particularly Real Madrid for him, because he is Spanish, and for a Spanish player or for any player, Real Madrid is like the highest honor to play for, unless you come from Catalonia or you're a Barca boy or something like that. This is Real Madrid we're talking about, the biggest club in the world. So when they come calling, it is very hard to keep hold of your players. So let's just hope they do go for a Frasenda or a Dumfries or something like that, and we can keep hold of Porro, because I just think it's so vital to keep hold of someone like Pedro Porro, because we ain't getting anyone even close to what Pedro Porro brings to this team. That's the reality. Like, you're thinking about what right backs are on the market right now that can bring us what Pedro Porro brings us. I can't think of anyone. I
think Spence probably becomes first choice, doesn't he?
Probably, and we go for a younger, up-and-coming right back maybe. But I think Real Madrid are selfish, man. They can't have Pedro Porro and Trent Alexander-Arnold in the squad, man. That is just selfish.
I mean, Porro is just a bit less version of Trent on the ball, but he's probably much better than Trent off the ball. So you probably think overall maybe they're thinking he's a bit of an upgrade, and he can defend a bit better than Trent can.
How mad is it that we're talking about Pedro Porro being an upgrade on Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Trent is one of those players who's very specific. He needs very specific things in the team for it to go right. He's generational when it comes to his ability. No one questions that. His passing ability is amazing, but he's not quite physical enough to play centre mid. And if you leave him too exposed a right back, he can be, and you're not set up for it, they can get exposed. So you need to set up your team based around Trent. And that's what Liverpool did, and it worked. But as soon as they stopped doing that, I think, as soon as he's in a team that's not that, you see what he's suffering. I think Porro, by the way, on the flip side, has been in a dysfunctional team. And I think he's kept up some sort of standard. I know he didn't have the best season last season, but he's still playing every game. He wasn't at his best. He was asked to do a job that probably he's much better at. He has much more to give than just spamming passes down the line and stuff like that. Yeah, he was still putting in some sound displays. Like, I don't think he was that bad as people are saying. So this guy's a top right back, and I think they'll look at that availability as well. That'll be a big factor, and think he plays every single game now, and think, okay, we could deal with someone like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just pray that we can keep hold of Pedro Porro. Next up, we're going to talk about Guglielmo Vicario. A bit of new news coming out about him. Damasio is saying that he's on Juventus's list of goalkeeping targets. They're looking for a goalkeeper this summer. I don't know what's going on with this Inter Milan deal. I did read somewhere that I think they've chosen a different keeper. They might be going for someone else instead of Vicario. So maybe that leaves room opportunity for Vicario to step into Juventus, or Juventus to go for Vicario. But at least there's more interest in him that's just not Inter Milan.
Which is a positive. We know Juve, they've been short of a number one for a while. I think their goalkeeper, they don't really trust him.
Really?
Since Buffon, yeah. I mean, they had Szczesny for a bit, but he was never really he did play for a long time to go Szczesny. So since Szczesny's left, they haven't really had anyone. They've flirted from different keepers.
Harry Kane put one over his head, he was never the same keeper.
Yeah, exactly. I hope they're interested. I hope they've got the money to spend. They only say he's on the list. It doesn't say he's high on the list or they're definitely going to go for him. So let's be cautiously optimistic. But if you've got Juve and Inter interested, let's hope there's other clubs in Italy that maybe look at that. And if he doesn't go to those, maybe a Napoli or something, or Roma, maybe. Or I know they've got Svila, but he could be leaving. So maybe there could be a bit of a domino effect with some of the other keepers. So I think it will end up back in Italy. I'm not sure where, though.
Yeah, I think it's got to be one of those two clubs, because Napoli got Alex Meret, Roma got Svila, Juventus and Inter. Maybe who do AC Milan have?
Maignan.
Yeah, but he's getting on a bit. So
Still
maybe, yeah, still there. But for how much longer, who knows? But anyway, there might be some more teams in Italy to go for him. But I don't think it'll be Napoli, and I don't think it'll be Roma. But the other three, potentially.
I'm saying it could be dominoes. Before someone leaves, then all of a sudden the spot opens up.
100%. Yeah. Let's talk about João Palhinha. I've just seen someone in the live chat say, "What's the João Palhinha news? What's the João Palhinha news?" Well, the João Palhinha news is that Fabrizio Romano has said João Palhinha has given his priority to Tottenham Hotspur, as the feeling with Roberto De Zerbi is very good. If the deal can't be agreed with Spurs, Sporting are keen and ready to act, but Tottenham are the priority for João Palhinha. Paul O'Keefe has said that Tottenham will let the clause expire. Well, it has expired now. And then they will go in for a lower amount, knowing that the player will push for the move. And Tom Barkley says that Tottenham are still exploring a deal to sign João Palhinha this summer. However, they will not activate the 26 million buy option. So Spurs are looking to get a pretty cheap deal done for João Palhinha. Yeah,
which is the only reason this makes sense, in my opinion, is if it's a really cheap deal. Because for me, as I've said, made no secret, I think we're probably better off moving on from him, going in a different direction, in my opinion. But I also understand the group is lacking lots of things at the moment, and a personality like João Palhinha is definitely one of the things it's lacking. So I think having him around, even if you miss something with how we play football, I think you definitely gain something with standards and mentality. And look, when push came to shove, he stood up for us. There's no doubt about it, and he was a massive reason we stayed up. So I can understand he's got now that affinity with the manager, with the players. They will probably appreciate him. The worry for me is not even Palhinha, it's how stocked our midfield is, and what we do about that, and how we go about getting the midfielders we want when we still have a lot of midfielders at the club without making some other difficult decisions. So for me, like, not re-signing Palhinha is a fairly kind of safe decision, which you can just do, and then you can go on and make space. So if we're not doing that, all of a sudden you look at the other midfielders, you're like, okay, someone else has to go. Well, obviously we're talking about Sarr, maybe a Bergvall Gray on loan, something like that. So maybe we're going to have to do that, is what it is. But yeah, I hope if we pay a little bit, if we pay a cheaper amount, it's not a bad signing. I mean, getting someone like Palhinha for a cheap deal makes sense in some ways. It's just I just worry about what we've I think everyone's been saying in midfield we've got big problems in certain aspects. We've been saying it for ages. This is even before De Zerbi, before Frank, before Ange, even under Conte. People were saying it. Like, this has been a long time. So if we really want to correct that, does signing Palhinha make a lot of sense? I think there are question marks about it. But if we can address those issues while having Palhinha, then fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a fair thing to say. I do think those things need to be addressed massively. I think there are potentially other full guys that can fall before João Palhinha. I think Pape Sarr is one of them. The problem is the Bergvall and Gray thing. Like, if it is true and they do become club trained after this season, then that's a problem that we're going to have to deal with. Can we go into the season with one extra midfielder? I don't see why not. Maybe just one extra midfielder than we probably need. Like, maybe instead of two for every position, you just have one extra one on top of that and just have a bit of extra cover. It's not the end of the world.
Are we going to do that?
Let's hope so.
That's the thing. I'm saying we want to, whatever, you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to squad planning, I don't know if it's the smartest thing to sign him up when you're looking at actually, unless you want to sell. I don't think it makes sense having both him and Bentancur, if I'm being honest. But